Hello, everybody, and welcome to Smiley Radio. As I said in the first episode, we are going to have a variety of programs involving news, late night talks, and so on. Today's program is what I call a meta podcast, which means it is a podcast about a podcast. But before we head into the topic, I want to express my gratitude toward the podcast which inspired this line of talks and has been a great help in my classes for over 3 years. The name of the podcast I'm talking about is Culips. Culips is a stunning program designed for intermediate to advanced English learners, and I strongly recommend it to anyone who wants to either learn English or improve their listening skills while learning fantastic new words and expressions. It is hosted by Andrew, who has a fabulous and warm voice and has been a great motivation and somehow a role model in terms of podcast production. Anyway, thank you sincerely, dear Andrew. I suggest all the listeners listen to the Culips episode called Gaslighting first, and then listen to this meta podcast to get a better grasp of the subject. Now, as Matthew McConaughey would say, all right, all right, all right. Without further ado, let's put gaslighting under the spotlight. What is gaslighting? Merriam-Webster has provided a definition. Psychological manipulation of a person, usually over an extended period of time, that causes the victim to question the validity of their own thoughts, perception of reality, or memories, and typically leads to confusion, loss of confidence and self-esteem, and uncertainty of one's emotional or mental stability. Gaslighting can be a very effective tool for the abuser to control an individual. It's done slowly, so the victim writes off the event as an oddity and doesn't realize they are being controlled and manipulated. So, gaslighting is a mind game a person plays with another in order to control them emotionally. They typically make the victim believe they are to blame for the gaslighter's misbehavior. Andrew pointed out 3 signs, or red flags, if you will, for such a type of behavior. In other words, if you see someone doing any of these 3 items, you might be a player in a gaslighter's game. The first sign is denial. Denial is the noun form of deny. If you deny something, it means you refuse to accept responsibility for it. Or it might mean that you believe that thing is not true at all. For example, if a playful kid breaks something, when their mother asks them whether they broke it or not, they might deny that they have broken it, unless they say the truth and admit that they have done a bad thing. Therefore, when a gaslighter does something bad to you and you ask them why they did it, they deny that they have done a bad thing. They would say, I never said that. You misheard me. Oh, you're imagining things. Oh, come on, are you crazy? Why would I say that? Or why would I do that? The second red flag is trivialization. Whoa, now that's a tongue twister. Okay, let's break it down. This word consists of two parts: trivial, which is the root of the word and means unimportant and worthless, and the suffix isation, which shows that the word is a noun and the meaning is about a process or the act of doing something. So, trivialization means making what someone says or does seem unimportant, or simply taking away the value of something. When a gaslighter hears criticism or complaint, instead of apologizing or actually admitting their misbehavior, they trivialize their audience's emotions. In other words, they hurt the victim and then make the victim feel worthless for feeling angry or hurt. I know, right? It's like mental torture. As far as I'm concerned, this is one of the cheapest and most inhumane tricks anyone could play. And I'm afraid there are lots of gaslighters out there, much more than you could imagine. The third sign of a gaslighter, as Andrew put it in their episode about gaslighting, is projection. The word projection means to extend something beyond something else. Like a projector that projects images onto a screen, curtain, or wall, projection of characteristics or personal flaws means finding those things in other people. Let me make it a bit clearer. Imagine a person who lies all the time. Of course, lying is a terrible behavior, and we all know that. A gaslighter uses lies as a tool to deny their mistakes, and their lies might become apparent to the victim at some point. Therefore, they divert the victim's attention to this bad behavior in other people or in the victim themselves. This helps them stay safe within their walls of lies. Now, let's take a look at some cool words I found in the Culips talk about gaslighting, which you might also find interesting. The first item on the list is manipulation. It is a noun since it ends in ation. The verb form is to manipulate. It means to change or control something cleverly and skillfully. The next item is perk, which is a countable noun, like Central Perk in Friends. Perk means advantage or benefit. The next item is subtle, which is an adjective. Pay attention to the difference between the pronunciation of subtle and its spelling. There is a silent B in this word. It means unnoticeable and not obvious. If something does not attract your attention, it is subtle. The next item is to blame somebody of doing something. It means to say or feel somebody is responsible for something bad. The next item is a beautiful verb, withhold. Withhold. It means to refuse, to give or show something, to hold something back, or to suppress something. The next item is an adjective, inadequate. Inadequate. It means without the necessary quality or quantity. Moving on to the next word, transpire. Transpire is a verb. It means to reveal, to make something become clear. The next word is also a verb, erode. The noun form is erosion. Erode means to destroy gradually, little by little. The next item is to confront somebody about something. When we confront somebody, we start actively dealing with that person. So the meaning of confront means to start actively dealing with a problem, facing a problem. The next item, to exhibit something. It means to show or manifest something, usually publicly. The last but not the least important item is an adverb, genuinely. Genuinely means in a truthful and sincere way, in a real way. The adjective form of genuinely is genuine. All right, that was it, fellas. I hope you enjoyed all the words in this episode. Stay smiley.